I want to go back, Stephana, to what you said before about how people's personal baggage that they may be carrying from childhood and it has a cumulative effect, how that affects them and their the way they approach their business. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yes, absolutely. One thing I want to be very clear about is that what I do is not therapy. In fact, because I have a background in that and did a lot of counseling as a chaplain, I realized that I could be much more effective for my clients if I were to step into the role of coach, of mentor, and empower them. And that way they wouldn't come to me as a victim. I'm speaking also from personal experience because when you go to someone specifically for help with your business, you have a certain personality or you have a certain role you're playing. And being an actress, I know many roles that we play, and just like Shakespeare says, all the world's a stage, and we're playing roles. Well, sometimes we can get into that victim role in certain areas, and the thing that I found was, for me, that was ineffective as a coach or as a person that wanted to help people. So I moved from that, and I'm really grateful for the shift in how counselors and therapists and chaplains. So I personally was a chaplain. I was an ordained minister, and I practiced as an ordained minister for many years. And the thing that I see now, coming from a perspective as a coach and as a mentor, is that I can come from this place of empowering them, and they come to me knowing that they are ready to stand in their power. And they don't need to keep playing that script of the past. If there are some areas that we need to address, I address them as a coach and as a mentor with tools, empowering them with the tools to handle and address those. Am I against therapy? Absolutely not. In fact, I think it's imperative that the person, if they feel that they need medical or therapeutic attention, that they, of course, get that. But for me and for the clients that I've worked with since shifting over into my coach's arena, I have found that it is much more effective. It is much faster as far as the results go, in healing the past as well, which is very interesting. And I'm going to use a different word than healing. I'm going to say transcending from that. Because sometimes we have things in our past that aren't ever really going to heal, because in order for them to heal, they almost have to be erased. And there's some things you just can't erase completely, but what you can do is you can transcend that. And what you can do is you can recognize what it is, and you can actually utilize it as a gift to really find out the truth of yourself. And one other piece, and that's the compassion that you have as a human being, to know that if you've come through something that was pretty traumatic, what we all have experienced some kind of trauma in our lives, but it gives us that relationship with another human being that allows for that space to be compassionate of another human being. And I think that we can all use more of that, and to understand that it's not all this superficial, pretty inject it with something and it's perfect. Yeah. That reminds me of, an instant fix, or it can all be handled in a 30-minute episode, or those types of things. Now, it's important for me that if you're hearing this, to understand that I believe in the unique voice of every individual. And so when we've come through things in our past that we aren't willing to look at, that hinders us in a way. And I don't mean look at it and dig it up and pick it, pick in a scab. I don't mean that. I mean, looking at it from a place of awareness and recognizing that you are not that circumstance. You are not that state. You are so much bigger than those circumstances or that state, and that you get to choose and you get to create. And that's why I love the analogy of the theater and the stage and movies and modeling, because I was able, my first modeling job was a mannequin model where I stood in place for 30 minutes and people in the mall would walk by, they would stop and stare, and I got to stand there in a place of strength and peace, and I knew I had a responsibility, I had a duty, I had a job to do. And because I was able to stand there at those intervals, it changed me. I recognized that people weren't scary. They were just like me, and they were curious, and they were interested, and they were fearful, and they were excited. So it opened me up. And if you allow that, if you allow for yourself to blossom, you'll find that you'll expand so much more. And that's what I use. That's how I work with my clients. That's how I work with our past. That's how I work with that baggage. That's how I help transform that and transmute that into something that is the gift of who we are. So that was something that I really wanted to impart, and I appreciate you, Moni, coming back and just clarifying that one piece. Getting that clear, you can then get the skills, and you can establish those skills, and you can get better and better with the practice that I talked about, and then we build from there. Okay? Thank you so much, Moni. I really appreciate you taking the time.
I like that you use the word transcending, because the truth is that sometimes things can happen in this lifetime that cannot be reversed.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we have to live as if we have been permanently damaged by them, or that we have to perceive ourselves as being permanently damaged by the things that have happened to us. And at some point we have to say, okay, whatever terrible things happen to me, it's up to me now. And so, Stephana, how can someone reach you and that would like to know more about what you do, or that would like to contact you to see if you would be a good match for them as a business coach?
Great. So the very best way is to reach me through my website, stephanajohnson.com. It's a place where you can go and get to know what I do and how I do it. I'm very transparent on the website. I'm very transparent on all of my videos. I work with a very select few private clients every year, but I have group programs that I do regularly. So if that feels more for your needs, or if you want to do things yourself, I've got a program and I've got the book that you can actually follow along and do it at your own pace. But for those that would like a little bit more hand-holding and some private work with me, that's something that best to go through stephanajohnson.com, and you can fill out a questionnaire. We can get on the phone and talk for 15 or 20 minutes and see if I can be of assistance.
And so, Stephana, if I'm understanding this correctly, people can go to your website and they can book an appointment with you that's not going to cost them anything?
Yes, absolutely.
That's really generous. How long is that free appointment?
Well, let me just say this. I ask for a questionnaire first. I need information. So when I talk with someone, whether it's for 15 minutes or for an hour, I want to know about what their needs are, because I may not be the right person, and I'll know that right off the bat. So if that's not, filling out, it's important to fill out the questionnaire first. And there's a few questions, so it kind of gets you an idea. Otherwise, I'd have pretty much everybody trying to get 15 minutes with me. And while I don't mind that, really what this is about is it's about if you feel something here, if there is a connection, if there's a resonance, and you know, wow, okay, I work with women entrepreneurs. I help women entrepreneurs put themselves forward powerfully and authentically. When I say powerfully, I'm talking about that clarity, that confidence, that essence of themselves that does not need to be forced. And sometimes we need to discover and rediscover that, and that's fine too. But that's what I mean when I say powerfully and authentically. To put themselves forward. Ultimately, in the public arena, I'm doing mostly getting them out speaking, getting them out behind, so they're not behind their computer all the time. They're doing the next step that they need to do to expand their business. I work mostly with people that their business is operational, it's up and running. They're usually around a minimum of $75,000 a year up to $5-6 million. And so that's kind of the range of the clients that I've taken to basically the next level. If you think getting ready to get to a 6-figure, going to 7 figures, that's where we're going. So I work with you on private works. We do a year-long program. I do that because in the first 3 months, most people are going to put up a facade, but for 9 weeks, you can't do that for 12 full weeks. You really can't keep that facade up. So we dig away a little bit. And then by the 4th month, we have made some major breakthroughs. 5th month, 6th month, they're starting to get out there and be major players in their field. And then by the end of that year, they've got so much momentum going on around their credibility and celebrity that they're ready to fly. All right, so that kind of gives you an idea of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I understand is that when people fill out that questionnaire, they
Yes.
can get a lot more about those 15 minutes, which 15 minutes may not seem like a long meeting for people, but 15 minutes with a coaching professional, it has a lot of value. And also that the people that you are looking for as clients are people who are ready for action, right?
Absolutely.
And I really like what you said about how people for the first few months they try to impress you, and that's, I have had that experience also in my own business. Is that people generally will not open up right away, and so that long relationship is really going to work in favor of the client.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. Stephana, thank you so much for agreeing
to
the interview and for sharing so much of your knowledge with everyone. And I look forward to meeting again and talking more about these very interesting topics.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.